Okay, now this is a little bit weird. You actually don't even need a calculator for it, but it can be confusing on what to do. It says P equals 2, and put a multiplication dot there. And then in the parentheses there's no number, it's just two variables that are being added together. It says write an equation for W. Here's what that means. You need to rewrite this equation so that instead of having P by itself, W is by itself, okay? Now W is on the right side, so put it on the right side, and that's the only thing you're allowed to put on the right side. Now here's how you figure out what goes on the other side. Normally I do the rainbows, but not with two letters, okay? Don't do that with two letters. What you're going to do first is get rid of this 2 here. Now it's got a dot with it, so when you have a dot, you underline each side, because the opposite, if I don't want something there with a dot, I'm going to divide. And I put a 2 underneath, cross it out, and a 2 underneath. Now line up your equal sign, and on this side you have the expression P divided by 2. You don't know what P is, so you just keep it P divided by 2. And on this side, the parentheses go away, and I have L plus W. Now, whatever letter I want by itself on this side, I put a 1, dot it, circle it, okay? And I can make the wall. Now let's pretend instead of an L, let's say, what if that was a 5? Well, I'd be putting a 5 underneath, okay? And I would be minusing it because it'd be positive 5. Well, L is no different. I'm going to put an L underneath and minus it, okay? That gets rid of it. Now over here, because you already have another variable, you're not going to put minus L under it. You're going to put minus L beside it, okay? So you're not going to go under it. Now here's another thing. When your multiplier is a 1, now that this is gone, you can now get rid of the 1, okay? Okay, so over there I now know what we have. We have P divided by 2 and then minus L, okay? And that has been rewritten so W's by itself. Okay, we're going to do 3 more just like it. Write an equation for Y. Now Y is over on this side, so I need Y all by itself. Everything else has to go. Now normally I think distribute, but not when there's 2 different letters there. We're not going to do it that way. I'm going to underline each side, that whole side. The equal stops, okay? And we want that 3, okay? So, and the whole point of dealing with the 3 is now I don't need the parentheses there because that 3 is gone. So now there's not a number there, and it's just X plus Y. Now we want the Y by itself, so I make the wall, I put a 1, I dot and circle. Now if that were like a 10, I'd be putting a 10 under it and minusing it, but it's just X, so I'll minus it, and that can be canceled. Now again, we don't put that under another letter, we put it beside. And then when you're multiplying numbers of 1, okay, because I really don't want to underline that and put 1. That's going to confuse the heck out of me. If you divide anything by 1, essentially the 1 is useless, okay? So now Y is by itself, and over here I have A divided by 3 minus X. Okay, my next one, write an equation for D. Now D's over here. I'm fine with D being over there. I just wanna write it so D's by itself. All this other garbage has to go. Now normally I distribute, but since there's 2 different letters and I don't know either one of them, we're not going to do that. Okay, we're going to underline each side, that whole thing over there and right here, and we're going to put this 5 underneath. That can go bye-bye then. So I align this, and over here you have M divided by 5. Give yourself some workspace, so don't put it right against the equals. And over here the parentheses can go away too. I don't need that, C plus D. Now let's look at, I'm trying to get the D by itself, D. So I make the wall 1 dot circle. Now I'll put a C underneath, and it's positive up there, I'll minus C. Now I don't minus C under there because there's another letter, so instead I put the C after, okay? So now the only thing I have left is the 1 dot, but if the dot's a 1, we can get rid of it because dividing something by 1 doesn't change it, okay? So D is now by itself, and over here we have M divided by 5 minus C. Okay, and then the last one, I have to get M by itself. Now what side of the equals is M on now? It's on the right, so I'll keep it on the right. I just need all this other garbage out of here. So that means multiply, put an operator. Normally I would distribute, but not when there's two variables, okay? If that was an M and like a 5, I would be distributing, definitely, okay? I would be doing my rainbows, but you know what, there's not. So I underline this little part here, and I cross the equals, and I underline that whole thing. And I am allowed to then put a 6 under, cancel. So line up your equals. Over here you have the expression A divided by 6. And over here, the parentheses I don't need. If I got rid of the outside multiplier, I can just write M plus N, because there is no more multiplying. Write an equation for M. Remember, I'm trying to get the M. So I put the 1 on the M, dot circle, wall goes up. Now I have this outside, N. Just like a number, it's a positive up there, so I'm going to minus it. The only difference is I don't minus it underneath, I minus it to the side. And then this multiplier 1, as long as it's a 1, can be canceled. Now some of you might be thinking, what if it's a 5? Well, that creates another problem, but it's just a 1 here, okay? So I have A over 6, just copy what we have, minus N. And that M is by itself.